because as I said, if there were things that should have been submitted that weren't, we obviously would have appreciated the opportunity to review them per the MOU. But I am also not going to recreate history and sort of recreate the facts at the time about how a review would have played out if they had been. So I don't want to automatically assume that it would be problematic.
No.
Or that it was problematic.
No, we can't assume it would be problematic or that it was problematic or that it might be problematic. No, we're talking about Hillary's, the latest revelations of the Clinton administration, an arm of the Clinton Foundation taking foreign contributions while Hillary was Secretary of State. They failed to report it. La-di-da-di-da, another day in Clinton land. And joining us now from Judicial Watch, their senior attorney, Ramona Cotca. Hello, Ramona.
Hi, Steve. How are you?
I'm okay. Good to talk to you. So, this merry-go-round, this circus, whenever anybody is asked if it's the White House, they say ask the State Department. If it's the State Department, they say talk to Hillary. And, of course, Hillary won't talk to anybody. Now, you have gone to court, your group, your fine group, Judicial Watch, to try to get information. Am I correct?
Yeah, thanks so much. Absolutely. So we are back in court. This is a new lawsuit that we filed against the State Department just this week. It is a FOIA request. It's a request under the Freedom of Information Act for records and communications relating to requests made by the former Secretary Clinton or her staff for approval to use an iPad or an iPhone while she was the Secretary of State. The AP had reported back in March that she had apparently used an iPad, and there's been information that if an iPad or an iPhone would have been that there were requests, but they were denied because it's not secure.
And
they're not secure as a BlackBerry.
Right. So you want to know if she used it anyway.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, hey, what difference does it make, Ramona? We don't know, and we don't know if it would be problematic, and it may be problematic, but we can't be sure it would be problematic. And after all, what difference does it make? I mean, how long can she get away with these not talking about anything? And what really gets me, maybe I shouldn't be surprised, I'm really not, but I mean, how long can the State Department and the White House just not give out any concrete information when they're asked questions about all this?
Well, I don't know. I mean, some of our cases that are pending, we've got over a dozen lawsuits against the State Department in which the email scandal has impacted our cases, and we've gone to the court and we've asked certain relief in some of the cases. In this one, it's a new lawsuit, so we'll have to wait and see what happens and what information the State Department will provide. By the way, in this particular case, we filed the lawsuit because the State Department acknowledged receipt of our request but never followed up or provided any information. So certainly this seems to be the MO by the administration or by the State Department with respect to these requests, but hopefully we'll get a judge who will listen and who will order the government to do what it needs to do under the Freedom of Information Act.
And are they in violation? Is the State Department in violation of the federal transparency law?
Well, yeah, I mean, the Federal Records Act is very clear with respect to records management and the duties and obligations by the head of the agency, the Secretary of State at the time, the Secretary Clinton was the State Secretary in this case, and they're very clear. They're supposed to retain these records for several reasons. One is obviously the security issue, which will come into play with respect to use of iPad or iPhone or her request for that. But the other is so that the State Department or the government, if there is a FOIA request, is able to go and easily retrieve those records. And obviously when you have your email sent from a different account, not a government account, and they're backed up to a server that's not backed up to the State Department or the government, there's an issue with respect to maintaining those records and also retrieving those records. So there are violations, whether it's definitely civil violations. I'm not a criminal attorney. Whether it's criminal, it's a different matter, but definitely civil violations.
All right. So what is the timetable on, for instance, the latest suit that you filed? I mean, when could we expect, or you could expect to hear something and maybe get something concrete out of it?
Probably in a couple of months with respect to this particular lawsuit that we just filed. The government has about 30 days to respond. The lawsuit was filed this past Tuesday. And then the judge will probably order for the parties to meet and confer, and which means the attorneys for the State Department and for Judicial Watch will meet and will come up with some sort of a plan of when the State Department will produce records, when it will finish conducting its search, and hopefully at that point we'll understand, did the State Department start its search, has it concluded its search for responsive records, and when we can expect those.
All right, Ramona, thank you very much. Keep us posted. Always appreciate it.
Sure thing. Thanks so much.
All right, folks, up next, it's Gimme 5. Don't go away.